everyone, this is 937 from Beast Games. My name is Emma Nelson, and this is my twin sister.
Hi, I'm Andy David.
And we are going to be talking about episode 8, and mainly our reunion, and how it all happened, and the emotions we felt during that process.
Yeah, so basically what happened is one day I woke up with a phone call, and it was from Beast Games Productions, and they said, hello, you're Andy, and I said yes, and they said, Emma has made it to top 10 at Beast Games, and we would like to fly you out and one other person of your choosing to go and surprise her on one of the newer episodes. And when I first got this phone call, I was literally jumping up and down for joy because at this point I have not seen her in like a month or so, and that's the longest it has ever been from us not speaking to each other. We don't even go a couple hours without like on the phone or seeing each other in person. So a month of absolutely no communication. I didn't know where she was, how she was doing, anything like that. I had no idea. So I was just really excited, not even necessarily to be on Beast Games, but I was just excited to finally talk to her after so long. So after I got that call, I went straight over to where my dad works, and I said, I get to choose one person to come along, and obviously I want it to be my dad because my dad is literally the biggest Beast Games fan, and he's the biggest supporter of her as well. And we just thought it would be so good to have my dad and us too.
Was he crying when you said that?
He was like, so my dad's a doctor, so he was seeing a patient at the time, and so I was just kind of like, Dad, like, when you get a second, I need to talk to you. But he could tell, like, I was super excited about something, but he didn't know what, because we had no idea that there would be a reunion on Beast Games, like, no idea whatsoever. So I told him, and he was just, like, so excited. Possibly the most excited I've ever seen him in my life. And we were both just kind of like jumping up and down, like, okay. Like, I would have to miss nursing school. He would have to miss some of his, days of being a doctor or whatever.
But didn't the Beast team tell you, we don't know if she's going to make it to top 10, so like hold out for a second?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So they did say they were currently in one challenge, and if she didn't make it past the challenge, then we wouldn't be flown out. But if she did, then that means she would have made it to final 10, and then we get to go fly out and see her. So we were kind of sitting around all day waiting for them to call. And if they called and told us that she made it to top 10, then obviously we'd be flying out. But at that moment, like, I didn't have any second thoughts or second guessing about whether or not she would make it to top 10. I just knew she would. Like, we had that twin to twin instinct, and I just always felt like it would be okay and that she would make it. So I really had no doubts. And I told the Beast Games production on the phone, I said, okay, yep, call me when she's in the top 10. Like, I'm ready.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So then after that, we got the call later that night that said she'd be, in final 10, so we'd be flown down. So at this point, me and my dad were freaking out. We were packing. It was pretty chilly in Canada at the time.
Very cold.
Very cold. So we were just packing, getting ready to go. They sent us all of our details and flight information, everything like that. They were so good, like so amazing to work with. And so we eventually were flown over. We stayed in a hotel, and they gave us all the details, like, okay, it's gonna be a late night shoot, so
dress warmly.
Yeah, dress super warm. And so we got to the
hangar. It was like
it was like a hangar /
it's where
warehouse.
We filmed episode 1.
So it was already super chilly, but we got there, and I started meeting all the other contestants' family members that they were bringing, and that was amazing. Like, everyone that I met was just incredible, and I met all of them. Like, they were all amazing. I met some of the producers. I met Klitzner. He was incredible. And some of the other producers, I forgot their name, but yes, everyone was so nice. And then it was time to get mic'd up and ready to go. So originally, they got us in a group, and they said, okay, we're going to have this family member, you're going to be the first one through the gates. And we're all, super excited for them. But after the producers started talking to me, they're like, actually, we think we want you to be the first one through the gates because you guys just have the most emotional connection. Or I'm not quite sure what made them decide that, but I was obviously super thrilled and ecstatic to be told that me and my dad were going to be the first one through the gates, because then, Emma's reaction would be completely authentic. She'd have no idea that we were coming. So we got on the bus, we drove over to Beast Games. It was the most incredible sight to see. And then the Klitzner gave us the rundown, like, okay, you're going to stand here, and then as soon as we tell you, just run through the gates, and, it's completely unscripted, so whatever you do, whatever you say, you decide, and, we'll just take it from there.
Yep. So then, while they were doing that, none of us top 10 had any indication that our families were flown out. We had no idea whatsoever, because the way Jimmy said it is we were doing a challenge that exact time. So when he said, all right, contestants, come up to the money, we were lining up to know what our challenge was and who would be eliminated and whatnot. And then Jimmy then said, 937, can you please come up here? And legal came, and whenever legal comes, it's, not good. Like, they're seeing something on screen that they didn't see before, they're catching something. And so immediately my heart was like, oh my gosh, like, what happened? And then when I stepped forward, I truly thought I was going to be eliminated. I didn't know what it was going to be for. I was just like thinking, did I do anything wrong? I was literally thinking of every single thing I did if I like messed up in any way. And then he said, we've reviewed the footage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be shown I'm eliminated in front of millions of people and I don't even know what I did wrong. And he says, it seems like you're really missing your family. And I didn't connect the dots yet. I was just like, huh, I'm not eliminated? What? And then I turned to the other 10, I'm like, no way. And then he says, run and meet your family. And I was completely, no words. I ran out, I met my twin sister. Obviously, I was crying because I haven't seen her in forever, and we're twins. We see each other every day. And then I met my dad, and it was just so emotional and meaningful, and that's when I truly felt that everything I have endured the past month was worth it, and all the emotional and brutal challenges was worth it because I get to see my family and they get to see how far I made it. So that was just amazing.
Yeah. And then at that moment, it obviously cut out a lot because there's only so much that they can put into that episode. But I was able to meet the rest of the contestants, and every single one of them were truly amazing. Like, I loved them so much. And it was so nice to know that she'd been taken such good care of. Like, everyone says, she's so sweet, she's so sweet. And I'm like, is she? No, I'm just kidding. But, it was so nice to meet all of them. And then I met Jimmy. He was super nice. I was totally fangirling.
Yeah.
But they didn't put that in the show, so I was kind of grateful. So, but after that, we got a tour of the Beast Game City. All of this while being filmed. So everything that you saw was completely authentic, except she first showed me her bunker. She stayed in number 4.
Yep.
Yeah. She stayed in number 4. It was this huge warehouse kind of room, and it had one little bed in the middle, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's scared of the dark. How is she sleeping here every single night by herself? So that was kind of funny, but
it was so scary.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was one of the scariest parts.
Yes, it did look terrifying. But then there was like a little Beast Games cafe that we went over, and she's just getting spoiled rotten with all this amazing food. And so I was just so jealous. And then I saw the towers, and obviously I had no idea what those towers were used for because they couldn't really tell us the previous games or anything like that. So I was like looking at the towers like, oh my gosh, like what did you have to do on those towers? Like that looks so scary. So we got a little bit of information from that, but other than that, just a really good tour. And then we caught up. Like I told her what she was missing from the outside world, and all the family members, everyone's supporting her. And we all just knew that she would make it. Like, I don't know. She really did apply as a joke. She called me and she's like, there's this application and I'm going to do it for Beast Games. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. You're obviously not going to get it because, I don't know.
It's too good to be true.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. And so I really didn't think she was going to get it. And then she told me to apply. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm in nursing school. I got to focus on that. But looking back at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how fun would have that been if we both would have been there? But that also would have been really hard.
Dream team, though. Dream team.
Then at that point, do you want to say what, like Jimmy said, like when we had to wrap it up?
Oh, yeah. He just says, my family was there for about an hour, and he said, all right, we're now doing a challenge. The families leave. So then we said our last goodbyes, and that was crazy because I'm like, when I see you again, I may or may not have won $5 million. So it's just kind of crazy to think, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the moment. I have to think for myself. And then, of course, I will be talking about, JC and I's relationship further on. But yeah, this was just a little bit of our reunion and kind of behind the scenes and our emotions we felt. And if you have any questions, comment down below. But yeah,
Thanks for watching, you guys.
bye.